All right, what's up everyone? We are here today doing a belt-only bodyweight jiu-jitsu warm-up. So the objective of the warm-up is obviously to get the body warm, to get a proper internal temperature, but it's also to what I call greasing the groove, right? We have grooves, right, or positions that we like to, to train in, right? So like in a normal gym setting, right, squat, push, pull, hinge, and carry, right? In jiu-jitsu, some of that applies and some of it doesn't apply as much. But regardless, we want to think about taking those positions that we're already accustomed to and just throwing a little grease in there, right? You know, you got a tool, it doesn't work, you spray it with a little WD-40, and there you go, it works, right? Same thing with your body, right? Our body's a tool designed to be used, and sometimes it just takes a little bit of, flowing around to get our body to do that work. So once again, we are warming up, but the emphasis is on movement. It's on flow, and it's on, just like jiu-jitsu, like you want to be flowy and ready to do things, but you don't want to be so blocky and, walking like a robot, right? So we're trying to loosen the body, but we're trying to remain strong and stable at the same time. So we're going to start off with our belt, right? We're going to hold it just like a jump rope to start, right? I call these figure eights, double figure eights, because we're using two hands, right? So easy way to do this, we're going to go one hand palm up and one hand palm down. This one is leading and this one is chasing, right? So I'm making figure eights with my hands. As I figure eight, right, I switch over my hands. Right, so from there, we're gonna get a little bit of our belt moving, just nice and slow, right? I want to think about movement and fluidity, right? I don't want it to be choppy and like my belt's not moving. Like I want it to be nice, right? So nice and fluid, right? Another thing, we can do this feet together, right? Feet in this bilateral stance, or for more of a jiu-jitsu purpose, right? Split stance. So it's kind of like we're in like a wrestling stance, right? So from here, we're getting this fluidity, this movement, right? And I'm just gonna go, we can go like a minute for the full thing, and then switch sides, right? Or we can kind of practice switching as we go, right? As you get better, you're gonna switch over that lead leg, right? And what I'm really trying to do is I'm trying to get my rib cage to rotate from side to side. This is also great, actually, where No Limits, shout out to No Limits, right? If you are a striker. So this motion is the same thing as striking, right? We're getting our rib cage to rotate, which will get you some extra inches or centimeters, whatever, on your punch. But for jiu-jitsu, same thing. We're in our wrestling stance, right? And I have to shoot, say, a knee pull to the outside. Boom. This knee pull is going to be dependent on how fast I can get there, and how fast I can get there is going to be dependent on how fast I can rotate my rib cage, right? Because if I'm just reaching, boom, there's all that extra room to rotate. So rib cage rotation is a high priority for any athlete, right? Especially if you are a striker, a thrower, think about jiu-jitsu, arm drags, right? So rib cage rotation, right? We got double figure eight. So we can do those for, say, a minute on each side. You can set a number, 10 and 10, right? Then we're gonna go to our single arm throw flow. So I'm gonna take my belt. I'm going to, so it's in half right now, right? Take my belt, fold it in half, and then I'm gonna fold it in half again. Right, now you can hold either end, doesn't matter. And we're gonna basically use this as an Indian club. So I'm gonna get my split stance. So if I'm throwing with my right arm, my left leg is forward. Right, so let's start like that, right arm, left leg. So I'm gonna throw, it's gonna come across the body and figure eight. Throw, cross, throw, cross. Right, and I'm just gonna get like 10 of these. We can do time, we can go 30 seconds aside, right? Once again, I'm really thinking about rotating my rib cage, right? And now I'm gonna go to the other side. So This is obviously not as fluid of a side. All right, so those are single arm flow throws or throw flows. Walking belt rotation. So once again, we're gonna go with our half belt, right? So we're just folding it in half once, right? I'm gonna hold this palms up, right? I mean, I guess you could do palms down. I just like palms up because it's more of a natural position, right? This is anatomical position, palms up facing you guys. So we're gonna stick with that, right? Now, if we were in, say, a bigger space, we can do this walking, but I'm just gonna do it semi-stationary. So we're just gonna do one leg at a time. So idea of this, right, is to once again get that rib cage rotation, but now incorporate that into our lower body movement. So yes, I'm rotating the ribs, but now how do I do that as I walk? Palms are up, shoulders are flat. I want to try and not pinch my shoulder blades back, but rather spread them out east to west. So from here, I'm going to start left leg forward, and I'm going to start twisted to the right side, to the left side, sorry. As I step my right leg forward, I'm going to rotate over my lead leg. Right now, like I said, if there was room for me to walk, I could just keep doing this, right? And keep coming backwards. All right, so that might take a little brain power to kind of get, to understand that. But just to start off real quick, left leg forward, hands are up, right? I'm going to rotate over that lead leg, and I'm just going to step back. So I'm just doing one leg at a time. Right? I'm really trying to rotate my body and trying to get my shoulders parallel. Now, one other thing, with my core, I'm thinking about pulling my belly button to my spine, right? So it's from here, I'm going to pull in, right? See how that tucked everything in? My back flattened out. My hips are tilted underneath me, right? And now from here, so from the side, it's that same thing. I'm going to rotate and rotate, rotate and rotate. Same thing. We can do these for a number of reps, or we can do it for time. Moving on, dislocations. Right. I'm sure you guys have seen this before with like a PVC pipe, right? We're just gonna hold this. Once again, our belt is folded in half, right? And we're gonna hold it and at the end. The closer that you can get, the better. But for now, we're gonna start at the very end. And from here, we're just gonna go over and behind. Right, so we'll get 10 of these. My rib cage pulled down, right? I don't want to see is a big flare in the ribs. I want to keep that rib cage pulled down nice and tight. All the motion is coming from the shoulders, so I'm really trying to build the range of motion in the shoulders. After dislocations, we're going, it's very similar, around the world. So now it's just going to be one side at a time is coming around the world, right? Think of your head as the world. We're going around. So we'll go one way and then the other. Right, so now this is around the world, so like basically for the shoulders. And now we're going to do around the world for the whole body. So we're going to incorporate the hips. So as my hands go one way, if I go around the world this way, my hips go the opposite. Right, so the belt is in front of me, my hips are back. As the belt goes to my right, my hips go to the left, and then as the belt comes behind, my hips go forward. So I'm always countering the belt, right? Or PVC pipe, or band, whatever you're using. But now I'm just trying to open up the whole body. Right, I'm going to go opposite. Last but not least, we got our wrestling rotations. So I'm gonna start in my wrestling stance. From here, belt is going overhead, just like if you were to like maybe split jerk or something like that. Right, we're going overhead, like an overhead squat, basically, in our split stance. I'm going to hinge at my hips a little bit, so that way I'm not like all the way up here. So I'm gonna hinge at my hips a little bit, and now I'm gonna just rotate down and open up. Rotate down and open up. All right, so you're really gonna feel this in that lead hip. So whatever that front leg, whatever your front leg is in your wrestling stance, you're gonna feel it in that hip a lot. So right here, my wrestling stance. Now notice when I do this, my hips, they close, and then when I come here, they open up. They close, and then they open up. All right, make sure you do that to both sides. So now I'm opposite, closing, opening up, closing, opening. And then last but not least, just regular overhead squats. So in a nice feet hip to shoulder width, toes slightly pointed out. Remember, gripping the ground with your toes. You want to think about pulling yourself to the ground. So a big misconception, a big problem in the fitness industry, right? In every gym, basically across the world, people load the barbell up and then they just drop. They let that weight push them to the ground. But that's not how it should be done. We want to pull ourselves into the ground. Doesn't matter how much weight is on your back, right? Whether it's body weight or 500 pounds, you want to think about pulling yourself into the ground, right? Eccentrically load that muscle. So from here, hands overhead, right? We're going to think about pulling ourselves into a good overhead squat position and back up. So from the side, I want to think about keeping this belt in line with my ears. So as I go down, it's pretty in line with my ears, right? If it starts to drop forward, you know you got some shoulder issues or thoracic spine, right? Yeah, just 10 of those bad boys. So once again, overhead, nice and tight, sitting all the way back to my squat, keep my head up, my shoulders, my belt over my ears, and just stand. You can come all the way down. We can kind of get comfortable in this position, right? We can start to work side to side, right? There's all different things we can do from there. Give that a shot. Let me know how it works. Try it out before your next practice, next competition, whatever it may be. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, you guys know where to find me. Peace.